Foundation, Dr. Xinhuang Michael Xiao. We would also like to welcome the members of the Diplomatic Corps as well as all of the distinguished guests for being here with us today. Now, we would like to play an introduction video. Please enjoy.
"台湾新南向，印太共坚强。
经贸新南向，突破疫情限制，为区域经济注入新活水。
建立疫后亚洲安全网，台湾不缺席。
教育新南向，深耕区域人才培育。
农业新南向，台湾与新南向伙伴国家一起打造区域永续安全的农业。
用科技的力量，让台湾与区域伙伴共同打造坚韧的未来。
培育亚洲人才，从台湾开始。
让台湾接轨亚洲，让亚洲看见台湾，一起打造艺术文化的共融体。
厚实多元文化特色，为台湾注入南向新力量。
客家南向继续太铺向前行，
依循南岛祖先的航海轨迹，让我们重建台湾跟世界的连接，
携手侨界，共创南向新视野。
台湾新南向，亚洲复苏新能量。台亚会与大家一起携手前行，
以韧实力重启进步价值。
Thank you to the cabinet members for their strong support and encouragement. This year marks the 5th edition of the forum, which serves as a dynamic platform to promote dialogue and deepen the connections between Taiwan and Asia. The theme of this year, Resetting Priorities of Progress with Resilience, also highlights the importance of forging alliance in response to the pandemic. Representatives from the government, industry, and academia from home and abroad will shed light on the key issues of economic cooperation, public health, talent cultivation, and smart agriculture, among others. We look forward to the fruitful exchange of views in today's forum. To kick off, first, we would like to invite the host of today, Dr. Xinhuang Michael Xiao, chairman of the Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation, Taiwan, to give us the opening remarks.
President Tsai, Secretary General Wu, Minister Wu, the Honorable Tony Abbott, the Honorable KG Furuya, distinguished guests and participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation, TAEF, the organizer of the 2021 Yusan Forum, I would like to express my sincere welcome to you all to join this year's Yusan Forum. Although the pandemic continues to escalate, your on-site and online support at this difficult moment has proven the progress of Taiwan's global partnership. Domestically, as you can see from the video, this New Southbound policy is the collective effort of all ministries. I especially thank the Honorable Tony Abbott AC for traveling all the way to Taiwan. Your presence here shows how democracies can build trustworthy ties in a time when the Indo-Pacific region has faced with convergent risks, ranging from military threat, ideological disparities, to geopolitical confrontations. My deep gratitude also goes to the Honorable Henji Furuya for his continuous support for Taiwan and his regular participation in this Yusan Forum. Last year's Yusan Forum focused on forging resilience, future together. This year's theme is resetting priorities of progress with resilience. The keywords are always resilient, and we hope next year still resilient with a more optimistic tone. A theme, a timely topic indeed. Today, we have witnessed how the global pandemic generated a tale of two divided worlds. Some countries have embarked on recovery plans already in the post-pandemic era. There are other countries, however, still standing at the crossroads of virus outbreaks, economic downturn, and deprivation of everyday life well-being. While the resilience of the international community has been put to a test in the face of emerging challenges, the new southbound policy, I wanted to emphasize, has successfully breached these two divided worlds. Through the past year, Taiwan and new southbound countries have generously shared public health resources together. We have continued important projects of talent cultivation, economic development, and regional collaboration through our digital technologies. When the new southbound policy entered the fifth year, some progress partnerships have marked the historical significance of the 2021 Yusan Forum in mapping new initiatives in the post-pandemic era. We will share the newest achievement of the new southbound flagship and other related programs made by governmental and non-governmental resource sectors, and investigate how to foster a resilient sphere of co-prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region. I hope this year's Yusan Forum could deepen the existing result and achievement and formulate the key foundations for the next phase of new southbound policy. In order to promote the new southbound policy in Taiwan society, TAEF has prudently shouldered the responsibility to serve as the platform between government and civil society. Taiwan's NGO has long served as one of the best examples of people-to-people exchange. They have been actively providing development assistance and humanitarian sector support for our neighboring partners, especially when the pandemic has injured social well-being. In TAEF's recent report, From Taiwan to Asia, Taiwan's NGO's international assistance under COVID-19 crisis, we have surveyed 30 important Taiwanese NGOs and found out they have invested around $5.4 million in COVID-19 assistance through various educational, health, and livelihood projects in Southeast and South Asian countries in 2020 alone, benefiting over 8 million individuals and their families. While we have done the first research report on NGOs' engagements in Asia during the pandemic, Taishang, that means Taiwanese business overseas, has also been our research focus. Throughout the past 3 years, we have initiated a series of studies on the image of Taiwan and Taiwanese business in Vietnam, Indonesia, and Thailand. We look forward to Taisang's efforts in establishing more dynamic and beneficial connectivities with the local communities, and participating in through enhancing corporate social responsibility with the technological innovation and participating in solid and stable global value chain process in South and Southeast Asia. Although the young generation will be a transformative force that brings innovation and new orientation in the future, however, their present lives have been proportionally disrupted by the global pandemic attacks. Since 2020, TAEF has partnered with the Japan office of the prestigious German think tank Konrad Adenauer Stiftung to address the surging youth unemployment problems across Taiwan, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam. In discussing how young talents could build back a better future, all experts have advocated the governments in the region should weave stronger social safety nets to ensure young people's essential needs are really met and empower their resilient capabilities. TAEF will soon work with our counterparts in the region to collectively address this critical issue on youth work. The above long-term projects between Taiwan and Asia would never be possible if we lose the foundations of cultural understanding. TAEF has partnered with Taiwan National Culture and Art Foundation, Indonesia's Yayasan Ineo Yogyakarta, and Vietnam's National Institute of Culture and Art Studies to expand the influence of Kaohsiung Museum of Fine Arts major exhibition, Pan-Austronesian Arts Festival in global community. In addition to the contemporary arts, TAEF will work with the Ministry of Culture, the Cultural Taiwan Foundation, the Keelung City Cultural Affairs Bureau to launch an exhibition titled Researching the Seas, Archipelago Memories in Circulation. In late October this year, where the transnational flows of commerce and networks among Keelung, Penang, and Manila will be emerging. The prolonged global pandemic demands unprecedented solutions and collaboration. It is important to recognize how Taiwan's New Southbound policy has built new social bonding in a time of social distancing. I hope you take this opportunity to stay there. I would like to take this opportunity to say that with all the new challenges and opportunities and new allies, new friends, the New Southbound policy is ready to enter the new stage to sustain regional inclusive development and progress. I hope you all will enjoy and engage in today's forum. Your variable participation and support for Taiwan would shine the 2021 Yusan Forum. My special thanks to TAEF long-standing partners from government and civil society that made today's event possible. With our collective efforts, I believe we will certainly meet again next year to celebrate another fruitful journey of a new southbound partnership. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman Hsiao. And as Chairman Hsiao mentioned, resilience is the key word. And with our joint efforts, we will be able to create new opportunities and overcome the challenges together. So we are truly grateful that we can gather here to attend this important forum. And next, we are honored to have invited Her Excellency Tsai Ing-wen, President of the Republic of China, Taiwan, to give us her remarks.
Dr. Xinhua Michael Hsiao, Chairman of the Taiwan-Asia Exchange Foundation, the Honorable Tony Abbott, former Prime Minister of Australia, Mr. Keiji Furuya, Chair of the Japanese All-Party Parliamentary Group for Taiwan, Dr. Alan Yang, Executive Director of Taiwan-Asia Exchange Foundation, Joseph Wu, our Foreign Minister, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you all for joining us virtually and physically at this year's Yusan Forum. I especially want to thank and welcome Mr. Tony Abbott, Australia's former Prime Minister, for coming all the way from Australia to join us this year. As countries around the world are still fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, we appreciate your effort to come to Taiwan to share your views on the recent global development in person. Under the current ever-changing international environment, you and your country's consistent effort to defend democracy, its values, and rules-based international order, while resisting coercion from authoritarian countries, is truly courageous and admirable. I know many international leaders are joining us virtually today due to restrictions on international travel. Your participation today signifies your staunch belief in democratic values such as freedom, the rule of law, human rights, and free trade, as well as friendships and support for Taiwan. I want to take this opportunity to invite you all to Taiwan after the pandemic recedes. Even though our efforts to combat the pandemic remains, there are issues important to the region and the world, which requires our attention and joint efforts. Issues such as how to promote cooperation in new reality we are facing, and how should we reset the priorities and reinforce resilience. This year's Yusan Forum is set to facilitate discussions on these important and pressing questions as we move towards a post-pandemic future. During a previous Yusan Forum, Chairman Hsiao made a keen observation. He said, Taiwan is not a problem, but rather a solution. Taiwan, through its evolution as an economic powerhouse and a vibrant democracy, is indeed part of the solution to emerging challenges with ramifications on a global scale, from climate change to new diseases, proliferation and terrorism, to human trafficking and threats to supply chains. Despite being excluded from international organizations, Taiwan has strived to adhere to international protocols. Taiwan has also been working proactively and diligently with like-minded partners on the developments of the region. In 2016, we launched the new southbound policy with the aim to facilitate regional prosperity through trade and investment partnerships, educational and people-to-people exchanges, and technological and medical cooperation with countries in South and Southeast Asia, as well as Australia and New Zealand. Since then, Taiwan has signed more than 80 agreements and MOUs with partner countries. In 2020, as a response to the pandemic, Taiwan convened a number of virtual industrial supply chain meetings and facilitated exchanges among enterprises across ASEAN. This has led to the signing of 16 industrial cooperation agreements in areas such as electronic manufacturing, green technology, biotechnology, information services, smart cities, textile, and pandemic prevention. Taiwan is also making investments in our new southbound policy partner countries through the business community, simultaneously fostering secure supply chains and regional development. With our high-tech capabilities and a professional globalized workforce, Taiwan is well positioned to help create secure global supply chains in sectors such as semiconductors, biotechnology, and renewable energy. In other words, in areas where international cooperation is needed, now more than ever. Moreover, Taiwan derives additional soft power from expertise and capabilities in fields such as education, public health, and natural disaster prevention. These are fields in which our experts and institutions are taking on a growing regional role. Our universities, for example, are prepared to work with other universities in the region to develop Chinese language training. Our medical facilities are sharing expertise in medical technology and management with partners around Asia. Economically, despite the flare-up of the infection in the spring, Taiwan's overall economic growth reached 8.34% in the first half of 2021. Taiwan's exports grew 31%, the most among the 4 Asian tigers. Imports also increased by 28.6%. Moreover, Taiwanese investment in the new southbound policy countries over the first half of this year increased by 58.87% year on year. Reciprocally, there was an increase in new southbound policy countries' investment to Taiwan by 57.5%. Taiwan's investment in ASEAN constitutes 35.1% of the overall investment, exceeding the 25.8% investment in China. At this critical juncture, as the world fights to regain its footing from the effects of the pandemic, Taiwan can be a crucial actor in the peaceful development and prosperity of our region. Of course, prosperity requires a peaceful, stable, transparent, and open environment. The Indo-Pacific region is now the world's fastest growing region. What happens in the region will ultimately shape the course of the 21st century. This emergence offers innumerable opportunities in everything from trade and manufacturing to research and education. But this also brings new tensions and systemic contradictions that could have devastating effects on international security and the global economy if they are not handled carefully. In addition to economic partnerships and people-to-people exchanges, Taiwan is fully committed to working with other regional actors to ensure stability. For example, this March, Taiwan established a Coast Guard working group with the United States. This working group will improve communication and information sharing between the U.S. and the Taiwan Coast Guards. It will also facilitate greater cooperation on shared objectives like preserving maritime resources and reducing illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. This working group, for example, will serve as a springboard for greater collaboration on non-military matters with other partners in the Indo-Pacific. Taiwan's efforts to contribute to regional stability and security do not end there. Taiwan is fully committed to collaborating with regional players to prevent armed conflicts in the East China, South China Seas, and in the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan does not seek military confrontation. It hopes for a peaceful, stable, predictable, and mutually beneficial coexistence with its neighbors. But Taiwan will also do whatever it takes to defend its freedom and democratic way of life. As we move towards the post-pandemic era, the New Southbound policy will be Taiwan's pivotal regional policy for Asia. Through the New Southbound policy, Taiwan seeks to strengthen links with regional strategic partners such as the United States, Australia, India, Japan, and ASEAN countries. We are also grateful to like-minded countries for utilizing international mechanisms such as the Japan-US Summit, the G7 Leaders Summit, the EU-US Summit, and the Australia Funds and Australia-Japan 2+2 ministerial consultation to emphasize the importance of peace and stability in the region and across the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan may be small in terms of territory, but it has proved that it can have a large regional presence. Taiwan persevered in the face of existential threats and made itself an indispensable actor in the Indo-Pacific. Going forward, our high-tech industries, and especially our production of advanced semiconductors, will help to fuel the regional and global economy. Despite the challenges posed by the pandemic, the last 2 years were also exemplified by warmth, resilience, friendship, and partnership. As Taiwan donated material and provided assistance to the world at the onset of the pandemic, the world also came to Taiwan's aid with life-saving vaccines. Time and again, we all were confronted by great challenges, but we have always been able to triumph by working together. United, we will prevail. Lastly, I want to wish you all a successful forum. I want to welcome former Prime Minister Abbott to Taiwan again. I enjoyed our conversation yesterday, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay in Taiwan. Thank you, Chairman Shao, for the invitation to speak at this important event, and thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Tsai, for your remarks. Please return to your seat. As President Tsai said, Taiwan is a solution and a model of democracy. We will continue to contribute to the security and stability of the Indo-Pacific region and cooperate with the like-minded countries in the world. Also, we believe that when the pandemic is gradually under control, we would love to invite friends from around the world to come back to Taiwan so that we can meet face-to-face and continue our fruitful discussion and deepen our cooperation together. And on this important occasion, we're deeply honored to have invited global leaders to share with us their insights about the changing world. So first of all, we would like to welcome the Honorable Tony Abbott, former Prime Minister of Australia, who has traveled to Taiwan despite the pandemic, to give us his remarks. Please welcome him with a warm round of applause.
Madam President, Foreign Minister Wu, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. 2 years back, I hesitated to attend this conference, lest that provoke China. But since then, as you know, Beijing has torn up the one country, two systems treaty on Hong Kong. It's put upwards of 1 million Uyghurs into concentration camps. It's boosted cyber spying on its own citizens, cancelled popular personalities in favour of a cult of the Red Emperor, brutalised Indian soldiers in the Himalayas, coerced other claimants in its eastern seas, and flown ever more intimidatory sorties against Taiwan. It's weaponised trade, especially against Australia, with our barley, wine and coal exports all stopped on spurious grounds. And its embassy has published 14 demands, essentially that we become a tributary state that no self-respecting country could accept. The trigger for all this was politely seeking an impartial inquiry into the origins of the Wuhan virus. So this year I'm here, having concluded that China's belligerence is all self-generated. But things, I should stress, weren't always this bad, and even now need not go from bad to worse. The Chinese economic miracle has lifted 500 million people from the third world to the middle class in scarcely a generation, probably the greatest and fastest advance in human well-being in all history, as Deng Xiaoping and his successors made room for the commercial instincts of the Chinese people. The whole world has benefited from China's productivity, including Australia, which supplied the iron ore, the coal and the gas to help make it happen. My government finalised China's first free trade deal with another G20 economy, in part because we thought that would help to build trust between China and the democracies. As Prime Minister, I was prepared to join the Chinese-led Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank because I thought that would help to give China a stake in a rules-based global order. So for Beijing, surely there's a lesson here. The more freedom its people have, the better they've done, and the more respect China has gained. Be a friend, that experience shows, and you'll have friends. Be a bully, and you'll only have clients who can't wait to escape. Now, much has changed in just 6 years, but it's not Australia's goodwill towards the people of China, about 1 million of whom are now Australians and making a fine contribution to our country. Australia has no issue with China, We welcome trade, investment and visits, just not further hectoring about being the chewing gum on China's boot. Now, a fortnight back, Professor Victor Gao, a senior Beijing foreign policy analyst and former translator for Chairman Deng, directly threatened Australians. Do you want to be a target for a possible nuclear war? He said, in response to our decision to acquire nuclear-powered but not armed submarines. So if the drums of war can be heard in our region, as an official of ours has noted, it's not Australia that's beating them. The only drums we beat are for justice and freedom. Freedom for all people in China and in Taiwan to make their own decisions about their lives and their futures. But that's not how China sees it, as its growing belligerence towards Taiwan shows. Sensing that its relative power might have peaked with its population ageing, its economy slowing and its finances creaking, it is quite possible that Beijing could lash out disastrously quite soon. Our challenge is to try to ensure that the unthinkable remains unlikely and that the possible does not become the probable. That's why Taiwan's friends are so important now, to stress that Taiwan's future should be decided by its own people and to let Beijing know that any attempt at coercion would have incalculable consequences. As we know, this is not the world's only flashpoint. There's Israel, never not under existential threat, and the Ukraine, menaced by the new Tsar. But nowhere is the struggle between liberty and tyranny more stark than across the Taiwan Strait. Now, in 7 decades, Taiwan has grown from an impoverished dictatorship to a prosperous democracy. For a long time in Taiwan, as in China, there was thought to be a trade-off between liberty and prosperity, with people having to sacrifice their freedom for their wealth. For a long time, it was assumed that no dictatorship could evolve without mayhem. Yet Taiwan proves that authoritarian governments can liberalise, and they can do so without sacrificing prosperity or unleashing anarchy. Economic growth here since 1990 has averaged 5%, and you Taiwanese are now the 15th richest people in the world in purchasing power terms. Let me say, this is simply a stellar performance. Prosperity plus freedom, a model that the whole world should admire, not isolate. It is to the vast credit of successive Taiwanese leaders that power was steadily dispersed in a peaceful, orderly way, and to the credit of the Taiwanese people that they've used their freedoms responsibly to build an even richer and stronger island. As things stand, how could Taiwanese people ever want to exchange their current lives for an alternative that's poorer and less free? Why would they want to get caught up in the old arguments about who is the real China, especially as China, meanwhile, has taken a wrong turn? Maybe the Deng-era market freedom was a short-term device to strengthen the country, a tactic like hide and bide. But China's leaders should have thought more deeply about this, because dropping the ruse has just united others against them. It's Beijing that's created the Quadrilateral Security Partnership, linking the United States, Japan, India and Australia, because it's been so unreasonable. And the more aggressive it becomes, the more opponents it will find. At our recent ministerial summit, both Australia and the United States stated their intent to strengthen ties with Taiwan, which we both declared is a leading democracy and a critical partner for both countries. The State Department has just affirmed that the US commitment to Taiwan is rock solid. I don't believe America could stand by and watch China swallowed up. I don't believe Australia should be indifferent to the fate of a fellow democracy of almost 25 million people. The US Secretary of State put it well earlier when he said of China that America would be competitive when it should be, collaborative when it can be, and adversarial when it must be. But provided it's real, collaboration is still possible and trust could yet be rebuilt. But Taiwan will be the test. For the democratic world, that means a readiness to support this fellow democracy, including by welcoming Taiwan into the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And for China too, which can hardly succeed while it mistreats its own people and threatens its neighbours, that means scaling back the aggression, as it could never be admitted to the TPP while engaged in a trade war with Australia and in predatory trade all round. So, Madam President, ladies and gentlemen, nothing is more pressing right now than solidarity with Taiwan. If we want a better world, hence my enthusiastic presence here today to stand with this island that's brave and free. I won't end urging you to stay safe. Rather, something nobler and higher. Stay free.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Abbott, for joining this forum in person to show your staunch support for Taiwan. Indeed, we want to not only stay safe, but also stay free. And also, your presence here demonstrates the importance of the democracies supporting each other to ensure freedom, prosperity, and democracy in the world. So once again, we would like to express our sincere appreciation, and certainly we look forward to seeing more like-minded democracies in the world supporting each other and promote democracy in the world. Our next speaker will join us virtually. The Honorable Keiji Furuya, member of the House of Representatives Japan, will give us his remarks from Japan. And now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Furuya.
はい、英文総統閣下、台湾の皆様、ご連席の皆様、日本最大の超党派国会議員連盟、日華議員懇談会の会長を務めています、古谷啓二でございます。本日は玉山フォーラムにお招きに預かり、心から感謝をいたします。この玉山フォーラムでの講演は、今回で4年連続4回目となります。昨年同様、オンラインの参加となりました。台湾の会場で皆様とお会いすることができないのは大変残念ですが、コロナというピンチをチャンスに変え、新しい日常を実践する会議として、このように開催されることを嬉しく思っています。まず、日華議員懇談会の紹介をさせていただきます。1972年、日本と台湾は国交断交しました。その翌年、1973年に 日華議員懇談会は日本と台湾の関係強化を目的に設立をされました。以来私たちは台湾との積極的な議員外交を行ってきました。この活動は政治、経済、文化、観光分野をはじめ多岐にわたります。また毎年国慶双十節の際は世界最大規模の祝賀訪問団を結成して式典に参加してきました。一昨年は総統府前のパレードに直接私たちが参加して日台友好の横断幕を掲げ行進しました。また4年に一度の総統就任式典にも必ず参加をしています。台北国立故宮博物院の日本での展覧会実現のための法整備を行いました。アジアで初めての展覧会を開催しました。この際にはツタンカーメン展を超える80万人が来場されました。また日華議員懇談会は台湾の WHO や TPP など国際機関への参加支持を強く表明をしています。昨年伊藤紀元総統がご逝去された際には森喜朗元総理大臣を団長に弔問団を結成をし、コロナ禍にもかかわらず台湾の特別なご配慮のもと台湾を訪問しました。また大地震をはじめとする自然災害発生期には現金による支援を行ってまいりました。本年台湾に2つの危機がありました。パイナップルとワクチンです。3月、突如台湾からの輸出の 97% を占めるパイナップルの輸入禁止を中国は発表しました。日本ではすぐに台湾のパイナップルの購入をして助けようという動きが自然発生的に起こりました。以来、ほとんど見かけることのなかった台湾産のパイナップルは全国どこのスーパーでも見かけるようになりました。私の岐阜県に本社のあるスーパーマーケットバラオでも今年のヒット商品となりました。2020年に2000トンの輸入量だった台湾パイナップルは2021年にはこの10倍に達するという予測もあります。見事にコロナを抑え込んでいた台湾は5月には感染拡大の危機に襲われました。日本ではワクチン支援準備を水面下で進めました。それは中国の妨害を避けるためです。台湾から昨年4月に日華議員懇談会を通じて支援をいただいた N95 マスク200万枚、防護服505万着は日本にとって大変ありがたい支援で、全国から台湾に対して感謝の声が多く上がるほどでしたので、なんとか恩を返したいという関係者の思いを一つに早期実現を目指しました。結果として5月中旬にいただいた要請後、6月4日から5回に分けて計390万回分のワクチン支援を実現し、台湾から要請のあった300万回以上の支援を達成することができました。そして9月16日には台湾よりワクチン支援のお礼として酸素濃縮機1008台、パルスオキシメーター1万台の医療支援をいただきました。感謝いたしております。コロナというピンチをチャンスに変えるべく、日本と台湾の新たな連携ができた象徴的な出来事でした。いずれも中国による圧力が共通するものです。困った時に助けるのが真の友人であります。台湾は9月23日、TPP への正式な参加申請をされました。今回の表明を心から歓迎をいたします。日華議員懇談会は毎年の活動基本方針で自由、民主主義、 基本的人権、法の支配といった基本的価値観を共有する重要なパートナーである台湾の TPP 参加支持を表明しています。また、台湾政府は今後の加入交渉に対して、福島県など日本産品の輸入禁止措置の解除を協議する考えを表明をされました。TPP 参加に前提となる諸問題を解決することを含め、日華議員懇談会としてできる限りの支援をしていくことをお約束をいたします。日華議員懇談会は7月29日、日米対議員による初の戦略対話をオンラインで開会をしました。この日米対議員外交の構想は、日華議員懇談会の活動方針の最重要テーマとしてかねてより目標としていたものです。2020年1月、蔡英文総統の再選直後、私は台湾を訪問し、蔡英文総統閣下と直接に依頼し、賛同いただきました。また、AIT のクリステンセン当時の代表とも意見交換をして支持をいただきました。当初、昨年5月20日の総統就任式典に合わせて開会を目指していましたが、コロナにより開催延期となり、7月29日に実現を果たしました。台湾からユウ立法委員長をはじめ、超党派立法委員、米国からハガティ上院議員をはじめ、上下両院議員、日本からは安倍前総理をはじめ、超党派国会議員が参加し、歴史的フォーラムを開会をいたしました。この実現をしました。近年、中国国防費の急増や国防法、武警法、海警法の改正のように、常軌を逸した中国の力による一方的な現状変更に対して、法の支配、基本的人権、民主主義という共通の価値観を持つ国々が連携をしていく必要があり、正式な外交がない台湾と日米の議員外交は極めて重要であります。私が所属する自由民主党でも、台湾政策の提言を策定し、その中で日米台による安全保障対話のプラットフォーム構築のため、現実的な第一歩を踏み出すこと。例えば、日本の自衛隊、米国、台湾の海軍の音楽隊による文化的行事を行い、緊張を高めることなく、交流の実績を積み上げることを提案しました。今後、日米対議員フォーラムを定期的に開催し、短期的、中長期的政策について、私たちは引き続き検討を重ね、現実かつ実効性のある取り組みをしてまいります。来年は日本と台湾が断交して50年、再来年には日華議員懇談会設立50年を迎えます。私たちは半世紀にわたりこれまで構築してきた日本と台湾の絆をより強固にして、この信頼という力を生かし、次の50年につながる取り組みを行ってまいります。ありがとうございました。シェイシェイ。
Thank you, Mr. Furuya, for your remarks and your lasting support. Due to the pandemic, former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe cannot be with us today. However, he has prepared a special message for the Yushan Forum. Quote, both Taiwan and Japan embrace the universal values of freedom, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, and Taiwan is an important partner and friend to Japan. Facing the threat from COVID-19, our two countries have helped and supported each other. Taiwan also strongly supports a free and open Indo-Pacific strategy. Taiwan has outstanding digital technology and innovation and is capable of making significant contributions to the international community. The Yushan Forum is an important platform to deepen the understanding among countries and expand the scope of consensus, thereby becoming a strong source of momentum. May the forum be a great success and all of the distinguished guests enjoy good health and prosperity, unquote. We would like to thank Prime Minister Abe for his support and friendship. Thank you very much. And here we are truly grateful that President Tsai has attended the Yushan Forum despite her busy schedule. So please give her a warm round of applause. And now we will send off President Tsai. Thank you for your participation. 我们谢谢蔡总统。